Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all sexualities and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And today's Doctor Who review is none other than Mind Warp. And yes, that was my impression of Brian Blessed. But yes, that's because he's in this episode and he's a very central figure to this story. We take another dive into the Doctor's history, and the Doctor finds himself this time facing the emotion of guilt. The Doctor finds himself on a far off world, in which he finds a king known as King Ylcanos. Sorry, I'm going to do that a lot in this review. But yes, we have a king named King Ylcanos, who will later go on to fall in love with Peri. But yes, King Ylcanos, because of his brutality and his kind of intimidating power of strength, he has been imprisoned on this planet. He tries to break out, but soon the Doctor and him realise that something else is going amiss. It turns out that Syl, who we last saw in the Vengeance on Varys storyline, has found himself a new niche market with one of his fellow kind. However, Syl watches as his higher-up begins to die off, and this points him towards the option of maybe having their body swapped with someone else. Now, the subject of this mind transfer, of course, is Peri. And this is where the guilt begins to play into this story. The Doctor finds himself in a position in which he has to race against time to save Peri from getting her mind wiped. King Ylcanos tries to help him as well and goes running towards Peri. However, the Doctor doesn't quite know what happened after that because he gets pulled into the trial room, to which he watches a clip which shows Peri being essentially killed off by the mind swap and King Ylcanos' rebellion falling to its knees. It seems that Syl, the revolting little newt or some little slug sort of creature, that's the only way I can describe him, has won and beaten the Doctor once and for all. The Doctor begins to dispute this as he sits in the trial room and faces his adversary, the Valiard, who is the exact reason that he has been put on trial in the first place. Now, it's unclear at the end of this story whether or not Peri survived. And I mean, we will go on to explain the foundation of what actually did happen when we get to a later review. But for now, I just want to keep you questioning yourself with this story straight away. Because you've got King Ylcanos, you've got this planet where mind swaps are being done illegally. You've got Syl and his revolting plans for universal conquest and just basically playing with the stock market. And you've got the Doctor clueless throughout this whole thing. Now, the Doctor, that poor beggar, you can't blame the sixth incarnation of the Doctor. He's only clueless because in this story, he is really left out of the loop. He's in a position in which he remembers the first half of what actually happened in this story, but can't quite remember the rest of it. If his future self would have known what was really going to happen, would he be able to stop it? That's a big, big if. Now, what do I give Mind Warp out of 10? It's a very chaotic story, and I feel like there's a lot of loopholes that, fair enough, they're explained in a later part of this trilogy. But I feel like if they'd been explained sooner, it definitely would have made things a lot easier on the audience. And sadly, for that reason, I have to drop this down to about a 7 out of 10. But Brian Blessed, Colin Baker, Nicola Braun and Christopher Ryan all absolutely smash it out the park, along with the rest of the cast and crew with this story. And I just want to give a big up to Colin Baker, who I did meet recently at Olympia, because you're an absolute legend, and You're so welcoming to people. So thank you for that. Now that's the end of this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, and have an incredible night, you beautiful people.